All right. Good morning, everybody. We are jumping in this morning. Look, I have not gone live in a couple of, actually several weeks, but coming back to these live Monday calls so that we can do Q&A. Everybody in our career community, they get coached by me every single morning, but I recognize that you guys have questions as well. So I'm going to start repurposing these Monday lives, quick hits, 3 to 5 minutes on answering your questions. So feel free to submit questions to me through direct message, through comments, and I'll happily answer them. And this morning's question is not a surprise. There we go. It's not a surprise. Overwhelm. Overwhelm is a topic that so many of you are reaching out about right now. Why? Because it's October. And this is when overwhelm sets in. Summer's over. September's over, and you're now hunkering down trying to get the work done before the holidays start. So it's no wonder that overwhelm is a common topic of conversation right now from so many of you who reach out and say, how do I deal with overwhelm? How do I avoid overwhelm? Well, I'm going to answer those questions in just a moment, but first, listen, we're going to keep this super casual. Grab your cup of coffee, right? Pull up your chair, grab a piece of paper and pencil. I'm going to give you three ways to avoid overwhelm, to deal with overwhelm, to answer this question that so many of you are asking, and I'm hearing it from the clients in our career, our online community as well. So that's why I'm bringing it forward to you this morning. You're asking it, they're asking it. Let's go ahead and tackle this overwhelm piece of the equation. All right, so hopefully that bought you some time, my friends, to grab your pen and paper. Let's jump in here and talk about the solutions to overwhelm. Number one solution. Before I jump into the solutions, let me just say something. First, when you talk about how do I deal with overwhelm, how do I avoid overwhelm, you don't avoid it and you don't deal with it. Let's watch the language we use to ourselves. First, you have to acknowledge that you are overwhelmed. So many people will tell you, coach and teach, oh, you've got to avoid it. Oh, you've got to deal with it. Oh, you've got to put it aside. No, you don't. You need to acknowledge that you are overwhelmed. Acknowledge there's a lot going on at work. There's a lot going on personally. We can't separate work and personal. They go hand in hand. So let's acknowledge that overwhelm exists before you try to devise solutions for it. All right. So that's my caveat for this morning. Now, solution number one, structure. Structure. In our career community, I am constantly sharing the tools that I use because I'm all digital. I'm constantly sharing the tools I use on my iPad, digital planners, task manager, everything that talks to each other provides a structure. You may be a paper person, that's totally fine. The structure you need is a way to process incoming projects, tasks, things that you need to do. You need a structure. You can also say system. You need a structure or a system within which to process those projects, those tasks, those work items, personal items. Listen, your structure can be a work project. It can be calling the dentist. It can be dealing with a roofer. That's what I'm dealing with right now. It can be any digital or paper system that allows you to have structure around the tasks that are coming in. Listen, hit me up in the comments below. I'll share with you the tools that I use that I also recommend to others in our career community to give structure. Now, be careful here. Here's the caveat. You can have too much structure, okay? You can have tools on top of tools and planners on top of planners, and they just sit on the side of your desk. They just sit on the side of your desk because you have too much structure. So the goal here is not to overwhelm yourself with structure, not to have so much that you don't know what to focus on. You need a task manager, you need a planner, and whether that is paper or digital, those are really the only two things that you need for structure, okay? Structure is where you start, because if you don't have a framework and a system within which to process, then, as so many people in our community share with me, I see Post-it notes all over computers. There's papers stacked up. It's just chaos because there's no framework and system within which to work the incoming that's coming in every day. And you get it from your boss, from your colleagues. You get it at home. You get it through email. It's just a lot. So you got to start with structure and a framework and a system to be able to manage the task. All right. Once you have your structure and your system down place, then it becomes all about focus, intentional focus. Now, for those of you who've watched my videos over the past couple of years, you know I'm very big on the power of three system. I adopted that from the Michael Hyatt full focus system. That's a lot. Now, that system's pretty big. It's a pretty big full productivity system, but at its core, it's focused on the power of three. What are the three things you need to get done every week and every day that you need to accomplish? That's it, three. Now, some of you come to me and you say, but I've got five. That's fine. I've got six. What you don't want are 10 or 15, because what I coach and teach every day is if you have a list of 10 or 15 things, you don't have a list. You've got chaos. So the power of three, or if you want to say five, gives you structure around the items that you need to get done. Now, for those of you who always challenge me when I say that, and you say, well, what about all the emergencies? That is the beauty of the power of three. You start your day getting the three most important things done, or five that you need to get done, and then you have time throughout the rest of the day for the emergencies. I get this from college presidents and college administrators all the time. There's so much coming at us. How do we focus? You get the priority things done first, and then that leaves space for all the emergencies and everything else. And if you guys see the balloons on my screen, if you upgrade to Mac OS, the new Mac OS system, they have emojis and all kinds of things built in now where this balloons just pop up. So there you go. Beware if you have a Mac and you upgrade your computer to the latest operating system, there's some weird stuff that just shows up on your screen. So that's why you're getting balloons right now. We're not celebrating structure and focus with balloons. That's why you're getting balloons. But all right, let me tackle the third piece real quick and wind this up. So you got structure, you got your system. Stick to your system. Focus allows your system to work because now you've got three things that you're working through that system every day. The third piece is accountability. Now you may say one thing is not like the other. That is accountability. Why do you need accountability when it comes to overwhelm? Because if you've got the structure and the focus, you're still going to have a lot coming at you. And the accountability is when you fall off the wagon and that planner has been sitting on that desk beside you. And I know it. Some of you say to me, my planner's been sitting here and I haven't been using it. Or, you know what, I haven't had time to open it. Or there's so many things there I haven't gotten done yet. Accountability says, even if you didn't touch it today or this week, you got to go back to it. I tell people all the time, I'm your accountability mechanism. I will check in and say, how's it going this week? What were your big three? Have you gotten those done? Are you using the tools and system you set up? Are you focused? Sometimes accountability is just somebody or you saying to yourself, I'm not using the system. I got to get back to it, because it's just easy to get focused on doing the things that are coming at you every day and not using the system that's going to help you process those things easier. So that's where the accountability piece comes in. So let's go back over those real quick. Structure is the system you need to process the incoming. All right. Focus, intentional focus, the power of three within that system. That allows you to have all the emergencies and time to deal with everything else that's coming up. And then the accountability keeps you within the system. So when you fall off the wagon, you get back on that system. Now, overwhelm. Overwhelm comes from a lack of control. These three solutions are your control mechanisms that will keep you within a structure and a system that's going to keep you on task, my friends. So reach out to me if you have questions. I'll be answering these questions every Monday live. Yeah, I know I got started talking, didn't drink my coffee, but bring your coffee, pull up your chair. Let's do this every Monday morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern. I'll answer your questions, guys. But for today, focus on acknowledge the overwhelm and get rid of the overwhelm using these three solutions: structure, focus, accountability. These three words will become